advantages on recycling. In my lifetime, I could recycle 25,000 cans, and same for each of you. You have the opportunity to recycle 25,000 cans in your lifetime. And every 3 months, not even a year, America will throw away enough aluminum to build their commercial fleet of aircraft. That's every 3 months, so you can see how that would add up. So recycling helps everybody. It's a huge resource that we can use as long as we're educated about it. As college students, we're shaping the future, so it'll be best if we're educated on it as well, and then we can make sure that policy is in place to most efficiently maximize this resource that we have, and the technology that allows us to help save the Earth. It's an important step in that. I was in the Sustainability LLC here on campus for 2 years, so I've seen presentations on this. I've had people come in and talk to me about this. I'm also an environmental and sustainability studies major, so I'm pretty familiar with the topic and the importance of it. So recycling is crucial to saving the environment, but it is most effective when we're educated about it and understand the entire process and what goes on, and how we are a part of that, because we are probably the most important part of this process. So I'll go over process of recycling, how it works, the numbers on the backs of recyclable items and what they mean in the little triangle with the arrows. I'll go over that a bit. And then I'll go over the cons of recycling. And there are cons, especially if we aren't informed on what we're doing when we recycle or when we think we're recycling. So this image shows how recycling works. These people are sorting the trash. To get to this point, you have to put it in the bin first. From there, it's taken by whatever your trash collecting company is. That can be publicly funded or privately funded. That's then taken to a transfer station or a facility that will process it directly. We have one of those near Fair Lakes. There's the dump, and they have recycling there. So this happens actually pretty close by us. So once it reaches the facility, it's sorted. It's sorted by machines. You can't really see the machines as much in this picture, but conveyor belts and stuff are helping the workers. There's also the human element. People are physically sorting things out, deciding what needs to be placed where. And probably most importantly, these people are taking out some of the contaminants that might be found in there, things that we put in that aren't recyclable. So from there, depending on what it is, if it's plastic, it's melted down and sorted depending on the type of plastic. Glass as well can be ground down to dust and recycled through a process there. Paper is reduced to a pulp and then can be processed into a raw material. So that raw material is taken and then often sold overseas. We don't sell as much to companies and places in America. Usually it's shipped. And we'll get to how that's important a bit later. So then also we have to talk about what the numbers mean, because that is important in sorting it on our end. So this is pretty much, there's some new ones coming out, but this is pretty much what you'll see, and that's how you know what can be recycled in your area. And that's what it comes down to. Some of these are easier to recycle than others. So in my neighborhood, we only recycle 1 through 5. Other includes things like styrofoam, things that are pretty hard to recycle and not as cost effective to recycle. So that's going to be more expensive for your company that's collecting it to process that. So my family would take styrofoam to my grandparents' house, where they have a little bit of a more robust system, so they can recycle it there, but our company refuses to do it. So we obviously can't put styrofoam into our recycling because it will be pointless and it will just cause problems down the line. So HDPE number 2 is pretty easy to recycle. And then PVC, which I believe falls under number 7 as well, and things like styrofoam are hard to recycle. The reasons they're easier and harder to recycle, I'll get to in a little bit. It comes down to downcycling, basically. So that leads me to the cons. This is some raw material, some raw plastic that's going to be processed and sold, most likely. So one of the cons that I talked about was that not all of the recycling is supported everywhere. It depends on your neighborhood. You may not have recycling at all. And if you don't have that, then obviously it'll be really tough to recycle. you can deliver it to dumpsters that Fairfax County provides at specific locations. But that's the biggest step, is if you actually have somebody coming to collect it from your house. Like I said, downcycling exists, and that's when the material that you recycle degrades over time. So some of the plastics that are harder to recycle can actually become toxic the more you put them through the process. And then some of them are just not. It's easier to get the raw material, so there's no sense in recycling it on a, if you're just worried about money, there's no point in recycling it. And so knowing that we can recycle, NPR says that actually leads us to throw away more things, and we consume more because we think, oh, I'll print off extra sheets of paper here, my professor doesn't collect them, I'll bring them back and recycle them when I am done with it. But it's best to just cut that out completely and just not use the material in the first place. And like I said before, so there's humans and machines sorting things. When we put in things like Christmas lights at the end of the holiday season, that becomes a huge problem for the people sorting it, and it can jam up machines and actually cost more money there. So that's a disincentive for people to recycle, or for the companies to support it, because it can cost them more money, even though they're trying to do good. It can be a problem. KTVZ reports in October also that prices are actually going down for the raw materials, so that's another lack of incentive to continue the process. And that is also, again, based on contamination. If you throw away things, or recycle things with food on them, that contaminates it. Places like China aren't buying it as much, which obviously then there's no incentive for companies to go through this process if foreign markets aren't buying it. So I hope I've proven that recycling is crucial, but that it is only going to work if we are educated on the topic. And I've done this by going over how recycling works, the numbers on recyclable items and what they mean, and some of the cons of recycling, which are exacerbated by us not knowing the process. Thank you.